As you are traveling down the winding avenues and cultural cul-de-sacs of society's subcultures, you stumble upon a route directly adjacent to the one you are currently on. A friendly face greets you from the doorway of a drinking establishment and beckons you over. Perhaps they have some kind of glow or noticeable marker about them, but the aura here suggests they'll have something borderline interesting to tell you. It seems you have found a Sub-Subculture side quest. Yes, hello, and thank you for joining us on a Sub-Subculture Podcast side quest. I'm your host and inspiration for the 1985 hit Part-Time Lover, Andrew. Joining me is my dear friend, pear-headed sex magnet, Richard.
Thank you. Hello.
And we are talking today about the concept of toxic culture, specifically in online video games. So that might be voice or text chat, but then I also found out there are some other ways that you can harass someone online when you're playing games with them, which is thrilling to know.
Yes, isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? The sheer volume of ways you can troll someone.
That we've, as a culture, that we've managed to find increasingly elaborate ways to hurt each other's feelings. And you are my man on the street, and the guy on the ground, Rich. You've got some experience with online games and stuff, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Mostly the fact that I don't like playing competitive online games because of exactly what we're probably going to be talking about. The ability to be called all sorts of things by someone you never met, some 10-year-old from the US, put me off it from quite an early age. But
sure.
So competitive wise, absolutely, but cooperative, I'd still play, I think.
Yeah. So as a preface, although I'm sure it's kind of stating the obvious, but this is when people are playing video games multiplayer online with people that they largely don't know, right?
Yeah.
And it could be competitively on opposing teams, or it could be in games where there's some degree of one-player content, but other people are doing their own thing, but in the same server or same game world, and the interaction between players is possible by voice or anything else.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. I think you see a lot of videos online of people who are ripped to shreds by various other people online, and I think most of the time they don't know each other, and it's easy enough to hide behind a gamer tag, a ridiculous gamer tag, like with 8 X's at the front of it and the end of it.
Yeah. So when you say gamer tag, I mean the online name that someone's going to identify themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I guess that kind of falls into my question of why would anyone do it? Because I read a few articles talking about this, because it's almost ingrained, or it's just fairly well accepted almost, that if you play games online, there is this element of a toxic culture. If you go into a public chat forum, you're kind of accepting that something is fair game, which is not great.
No, absolutely. And I think, this is one of the reasons that, I would, if I was ever to play competitive stuff, I'd pretty much mute absolutely everybody, as I wouldn't generally know anyone I'm playing online with anyway. So,
sure.
So yeah, it would be an immediate mute of people if I didn't know them, which doesn't help when you're trying to play something which has an element of cooperative gaming to it.
If you're on the same team, you will need to indicate to someone else that there's an objective that they should be doing while you're completing one, and you don't want to have to listen to just a slew of abuse when you're trying to just convey a simple message or something that would be entirely normal.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of the things I was reading was that as I said, it's kind of pre-existing, and it's been around since gaming became a thing that people would identify themselves as a gamer, and the cycle kind of perpetuates itself. And they also maybe suggested that, as you've said, this online disinhibition, because there's an anonymity and an invisibility that people feel when they're just a gaming tag, that you don't know this person in real life, so you feel like you can say whatever to whoever because there's a lack of consequences, or nothing really comes back to you.
Yeah. And I think there's it's weird, because I think in a working environment you get a similar, although it's never as bad, but in a working environment you get people who are terrible on email and rude on email, but when you talk to them face to face, they're absolutely fine.
Oh yeah.
So I think there's an element of it in everyday life as well. It's not just gaming. But yeah, I know plenty of people who are absolute bastards on email, and
hiding behind a screen makes it easier to be a complete keyboard warrior and say horrible things. And if you hold on, that person's across the room from me, I'm going to go stand at their desk and ask them why they've just called me a donkey fucking shit eater, then they're not going to come back, and they would never ever say anything like that to your face physically. In 99% of cases, I guess.
No, I don't think they would. And often people are completely fine when you talk to them face to face, but they just have this way of, whether it's some form of shorthand, maybe.
I don't think people are fine when I talk to them face to face.
Yeah, but that's because you try your best not to make it fine face to face.
I just can't help it. As soon as someone talks to you face to face, they go, "Oh, this person's clearly an idiot." Just an awful person.
But then again, yeah, I think, there are certain circumstances where if someone's like that, I will change my tune to be that. And I wonder if that's what happens online as well. So I wonder if, like you say, there's sort of a cycle of people are treated badly, therefore they think, oh, actually it's all right to do that because I'm never going to meet these people anyway. And it's not in their normal nature. But I think because of that anonymity, because you're just, XX big boy 97, whatever it is, that you can get away with it. That's not my game tag. Yeah.
Looking it up now.
Yes.
Slew of bands. XXX Sexy Tuna 4. I was reading a Perspective article, and this was hosted on frontiersin.org, and it was written, so it's 5 years old now, but it's written in 2020 by this person that calls himself an independent researcher, Rachel Coward. I'll give her full credit on this thing that no one listens to. And there was some fascinating but fairly sad statistics based on some 2019 and 20 studies in this, and just how kind of normalized this toxic culture is in online games. So 74% of adults who play online multiplayer games in the US said they had experienced some form of harassment.
I'm surprised it's not a little bit higher, I'll be honest. I would imagine that everyone who's played online at some point would have at least heard it. Even for people on the same team.
Probably.
Yeah.
Primarily
on the same team, actually, yeah. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You don't know how to play this,
Yeah, you're quite right. You're entirely accurate in your statement, sir. 53% surveyed said that they had experienced this based on race, ethnicity, religion, physical ability, gender, or sexual orientation. So just a slew of insults based on anything that you can call someone or find something about someone, whether it's their characteristics or not.
Physical ability being how good they are at playing the game, or physical ability as in they know what they look like, or they're guessing what they look like?
I wasn't clear on that. Maybe how good or bad they are at the game, but maybe, I don't know, calling someone disabled or something like that.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah. Seems fair. It doesn't, by the way. It doesn't seem fair.
Disclaimer, this is all for jokes, and Rich is actually one of the nicest people you can ever meet, so he doesn't mean it. He does. 65% had experienced severe harassment, i.e. physical threats in real life, stalking, or sustained harassment, which I guess means following them online from place to place to harass them further.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
65%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of those people studied or that responded to this study, I guess.
Yeah. The thing that I think I saw a clip a while ago where someone knew from the IP addresses all the names and addresses and everything about anyone who was on an online game. And so that makes it a little scarier, I guess.
Yeah.
If you know people can get that sort of information if they've got the right know-how, then yeah, that is sort of slightly scarier, isn't it? But again, I think a lot of it's just showboating. I
would certainly hope so, but then it really would, whether you don't know whether it's showboating or whether one of these people is completely unhinged and is out to, if they can find that information about you, you don't really feel safe, whether they're just full of it or not.
Yeah, true.
And
very true.
I guess another article that was published by the University of California's The Guardian, so I guess they make their own little paper. How fun for them. But they, I don't know why I'm laughing. But they found that 59% of women hide their gender in games because that opens them up to more abuse, even from teammates, from unwanted male attention to just being harassed because they are a female gamer.
Yeah, again, it's sad, isn't it? But it's not entirely surprising. That you do see a lot of female streamers now. I think more probably, I say more than men. I've got no idea. I've got nothing to base that on. The ones that are more popular, I imagine, are the ones who are female. I think all the
The
ones
old sex cells.
yeah, exactly.
That sounds incredibly chauvinistic. Saying, "Oh, you're only watching them streaming because they're a girl." I didn't mean that.
No, but I imagine there's a fair amount of the population that might be the case for. Not me, though. Not me.
Not me. Close these browser tabs. I can say more about that in a second, but the types of harassment, you said that I might need to upskill you on some of the terms that I came across. So spamming, we're fine with that, right? That's just kind of barraging someone.
Barraging someone with texts or voice notes or whatever you can do nowadays.
Mm-hmm. The more hurtful comments you can make about them, the better. And then that's the aim.
That's the aim, I guess. Yeah.
Make them quit or leave or feel bad.
Yeah, I don't get it. I still don't get it. I don't know why you'd want to do it. But yes, unless that person's wronged you in some way. But you've got to remember in all these things, like you're in a virtual world game, whatever it is, it's nothing that's...
It's really not worth being like that.
No.
Griefing. You're familiar with griefing?
I've heard of griefing, but yeah, just for the benefit.
So again, I was hoping you'll fill me in, and if I'm wrong here, I think that is being deliberately bad at the game or doing something that could be counterproductive, just targeting a person just for the sake of, attacking them. So you might be on the same team, but you deliberately go and repeatedly shoot them, or you're playing cooperatively, but you go and blow up all their stuff. You're always going after the same person.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. No, that I have heard of that and seen that, I think.
Yeah. Where you're not playing the game for the game's sake. You're playing it.
You're playing it to annoy somebody.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, if that's how you want to spend your time, I still don't. I wouldn't, by the way. But if that's how you want to spend your time, I don't see what you're getting out of it.
Yeah. But that's exactly the sad thing, that it's a game that's for people to enjoy and together potentially, and it puts people like you off who are like, I don't understand where you're coming from or why you're doing this, and therefore it makes me want to close this program and do something else.
Well, that's it. I mean, I've only really now, if I play online, and I don't play online much anymore, I've only ever done that, Gears of War online with people I know, with friends, Halo with friends in, Xbox 360 days. It's I never played competitively in those things, because I'm sure there are people out there who are, because I thought I was quite good at it. And then, of course, you go online and you realise if you don't spend your entire life playing one game, whether it's Call of Duty or whatever, and you haven't started the second it comes out, you're probably always never going to be at the level to actually be competitive, which means you're more opening yourself up to more of that sort of that grief.
Yeah, if people have got sunk that many hours into a game. I mean, I guess things like Call of Duty and Battlefield and other first-person shooters are largely the same control sets. So kind of muscle memory, you get good at one of them, that's going to transfer across. So the same people could be good at all of these, and there's no way for a new person to come in and not be immediately told that they're the worst thing in the world.
Yes, and I think that's sort of the issue. I know people who just play Call of Duty and people who just play FIFA, and that's it. That's all they'll ever play, and that's fine if you want to do that. But it does mean that anyone else is probably going to struggle.
I knew a guy that was in a Counter-Strike clan when I was in universities. That's a while back. Yeah, and people still play Counter-Strike, right? Even though I think they do. Yeah. Got to be like 20 years old or something. The game itself more than. Anyway, sometimes he would be like the one that had arranged to go out for a night out and was ready for a party and stuff, and he was like, "Oh no, sorry, actually I can't because my CS clan are meeting." So he was just going to be locked in his sweaty room, clicking away furiously, and probably also playing some games.
And playing some games too. Yes, good.
Yeah, and sorry, the other term I wanted to run by you: doxing. What is doxing?
Not docking, but doxing.
No, not what we do.
Not what we do for fun when we meet up.
Doxing. DOX. No. So that would be what you were talking about earlier, though. So finding out people's personal information or maybe their location based on their IP address, and then posting personal private information about them or information that's not related to the game, tying it back to their user handle and making that all publicly available, like spreading people's personal information.
Again, I've said about all of them, but that's mad. That's just, if you don't know the person, there's got to be ways of
that's
policing.
psychotic.
That's actually psychotic. It's
Yeah.
like, you've got to be able to police that. You can't have like personal information out there.
Okay.
I imagine they must have got better at policing this, I would have thought, but I don't know whether they have. And I don't know whose responsibility it is either, actually.
Brilliant segue into a different article or topic I was reading. Unwitting Segue Master.
Yeah, fantastic.
An article from 2022 in Vice was calling out the Call of Duty franchise specifically as having one of the most toxic online cultures. You can put a pin in that because you might have something to say about this if you know people that play it only.
Right, yeah.
But they also covered a group called the Melanin Gamers who have started a campaign with a hashtag Help Keep Watch to try and get people to record instances of, well, I think they were primarily talking about racist behavior, but then also discriminating against people's gender or sexual identity and all the rest of it. Trying to get people to, because they're saying that the game publishers or people running servers aren't doing enough, there's not a concerted industry-wide effort to actually address it. They think that's partly why it's so prevalent. So they're encouraging people to almost like be a neighborhood watch and upload videos of particular players doing this so that they can be identified, and maybe it's easier that way to enforce play bans or bring them up to the token punishments that they can receive.
Yeah, I was going to say, so one of the things that seems to be quite prevalent is they'll ban people for cheating and for using aimbots or whatever in the PC games. Doesn't seem to, there's always a report function, but who that goes to? So that goes to Microsoft for Xbox. Does it go to Sony? Does it go to whoever the game, whoever looks after the servers? I don't know. That surely has got to be one of those things where they take those fairly seriously, especially if it's to do with that. I think cheating in a game is not quite as bad as finding out someone's personal details and
or just
putting it online.
Screaming racial slurs at them for 10 minutes until they really can't handle it psychologically and leave. No.
Yeah.
I think their point was that the report functions and buttons are there, but it's a lot harder to actually enforce that or to do anything about it if it's over voice rather than text, for example, because those are all logged somewhere. But if someone's, I can't think that they're going to be logging thousands and thousands and thousands of hours from every player's voice thing and find a way to do much about it if you don't have the proof, I guess.
Well, maybe this is where AI comes into it a little bit more, and there's the ability to actually do a bit more analysis of whatever it is that comes through and actually work out, okay, well, they must be able to build something by now that recognizes certain things, whether it's racial slurs or whether it's doxing or whether it's whatever, and has the ability to capture it fairly quickly, I would have thought.
I think they did mention that some games like Valorant are testing automated methods to moderate voice communication.
Right.
But they're still not really working that well. We've seen that AI is still in its infancy anyway, but they really think that it relies on more players reporting bad behavior for this culture to actually change.
Work. Yeah. Well, maybe it's baby steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think that there must be loads of ways now you can sort of automate it. It's just a case of putting in the time and effort, I guess. And like you say, I think it's quite good. I think it's quite nice when you hear about people setting up the sort of, like you say, neighborhood watch for these sorts of things, because surely most people just want to have a decent time. Most people play computer games to chill out and relax. I know not all of them. I know some of it's competitive, and it's a huge industry for that sort of thing, with the e-gaming. You think the majority of people were just there to relax and shoot a few things without getting too angry about it.
Yeah. Stress relief.
That, stress relief, isn't it? It's 95% of people, because you can't go and do it in real life, so go and do it on a screen. Well, you could go and do it in real life.
I find people object a lot harder if I do it in real life than if through a screen. My last 3 workplace shootings have just been a total catastrophe.
I just did not plan those well at all. They were just
barely even got through the door. So what do you think about this calling out like specific ones, like the Call of Duty franchise is having one of the most toxic online communities? I think League of Legends is supposed to be fairly bad as well, I heard, but maybe that's just for how competitive it is.
I heard the new one as well, the one that took over from, there's someone called Marvel Rivals, which must be free to play, I'm guessing, or maybe not, I'm not sure. But apparently that's terrible. And you think Marvel, that's going to be mainly sort of younger contingent of people who are sort of, enjoy Iron Man, Spider-Man, whatever else. Apparently that is horrific. I've had a look on Reddit the other day, and it's like, that's the most toxic community I've ever been in. I'm like, that's crackers, isn't it?
Wow, something owned by the Disney Corporation.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, no, that's a fair point. But then,
well, my point was that you would think it would be for kids, that they would have the filtering set up in
advance.
Yeah,
you do, but again, I think you can't stop. I don't think you can stop it at the moment. Obviously, it also takes some time to work out the right way of doing it as well, I guess, especially with new games like that.
Yeah, or you don't really expect it. You think, okay, we're launching a thing where you play as a superhero. Surely people are just going to want to be more collaborative. But we didn't realize we were making the most toxic community when we did it.
No, exactly. And I've heard, Roblox, which is that thing that loads and loads of kids play, was, sort of didn't take over for Minecraft, but sort of was alongside it as one of those sort of, you can build your own games and do whatever you want. That's apparently got some really, really bad stuff going on in it that parents are slightly worried about, and also because it's aimed at younger kids. Not to bring the whole thing down too much, because it's not exactly nice to think about it. But yeah, apparently that's full of sort of half super dodgy stuff as well.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent. Yeah. Let's find a way to ruin things for children.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're going to a children's play park and deliberately shitting down the slide. Don't recommend. It's hot in the summer.
It's like, I imagine that's why they haven't released like a proper big Lego multiplayer game, because you just end up with a lot of huge Lego phalluses built.
Games for children. Nope. Games for building phalluses.
Nope. Well, maybe that's what Minecraft was originally anyway.
Blocky phalluses. The game.
Exactly, yeah.
They were, in this Vice article, they were saying that specific games are worse than others, like this, but the ones they interviewed, they felt like the more diverse the character roster, then the less toxic the community. Now, I don't want to assume that everyone who plays Call of Duty is a gun-toting, Second Amendment, misunderstanding, white American problem child, Trump voter, or something like that. But that was the feeling I got from that comment.
You don't want to. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to, but... And I'm sure it probably is mostly that, right? I don't know. I actually don't know. That's the thing. I'm not sure what the split is of sort of, male, female ethnicity.
We would have to do a deep dive into characters in games versus the people that play them or something.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
But you said, about the potential mixing genders and stuff. This Vice article was also saying that a lot of female gamers feel they need to go out of their way to not come across as female in games, whether that means not joining chats because this kind of behavior is so prevalent. To that statistic earlier on where they said that many girls will hide their genders, that's taking something like a neutral name that people won't immediately identify you as a girl from, and even just your choice of character not seeming feminine, just to try and avoid trolls.
Yeah.
This is sad.
But I'd be interested to know what something like, I presume Fortnite is quite well policed, but I don't know for sure. Like, I've never heard of that as being a particularly bad thing. I don't know that has probably one of the highest range of gamers, everything from, 8-year-olds up to sort of 40, 50-year-olds. I'm guessing playing it. I've never played it personally, but that's got quite an eclectic mix of people and genres, and it's got celebrity endorsements, and you think you'd have to be very careful, I think, as a celebrity if you start putting your name against something where it's really bad online. It's like super bad.
I've never played it as well. I mean, what I understand is that the core gameplay is the same, but mostly you can customize the look of your character to an insane level now. So you can be the Joker from whatever franchise playing against something from Marvel versus someone who's just a dude with a pink polka dot hat or something.
Versus Michael Jordan versus, you're right. Yeah, exactly. I think it's all sorts. And like you say, maybe those ones where that range of being able to express yourself or being able to change what your character looks like means you get more, perhaps you get less people causing issues. I again, just don't know. It is scary to think that there are so many different ways, though, that people can sort of get to you on these things.
Maybe there's also the question of, are we as a society being too pearl-clutching, hysterical about stuff like this? And is it just a case of it's just boys being boys? You would have this kind of thing on the football field, so everyone needs to get over it.
Or
do you think this is actually, why should we accept it as a way of behaviour?
I think if you're sporting, face to face, I think it's different. I think you're there. You probably tend to sort out what it is at that point in time. If you have a bit of a ruck with someone, generally at the end of the game, everyone shakes hands and is all right with it. With this, you're left with someone potentially leaving a game, and you'll never talk to them again. You never hear from them again, and you just don't know whether that's you can't tell whether or not that's
at the end of a game of football. You don't really go and then find the opposing players' personal information and home address and
exactly,
and plaster it on a billboard.
Yeah. And then if they're from the same school as you might go and find them and challenge them to fisticuffs in the playground or whatever. But
that's exactly how we used to say it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I challenge you to fisticuffs.
I demand satisfaction with a white glove.
White something. No, I wouldn't say that was. I don't go in for that. That was devil's advocate. I wouldn't say that it's boys being boys. I don't play competitive online. I don't play online games at all, really. But it would put me off completely, knowing that if I did turn on my headset, all I was going to hear was either a bunch of hopped up 10-year-olds screaming swear words that they just learned at me, or someone that sounds like a burly trucker who I thought, Jesus, this person does actually want to come to my house.
Yeah.
And do whatever he's
and he's not on there to play the computer game. He's just on there to find out where you are and then come and spend time with you
in an unfriendly way,
in an unfriendly manner.
I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't think it can be a case of boys will be boys, because I just don't think you do it in real life. I don't think you get away with it, and I also think generally you won't get backed up. I wonder if how you do hope that people sort of rally round and do the right thing, but I think there are enough twats out there that they won't bother. They'll just allow it to happen.
Yeah, maybe I was going to say, what can you do about this, really, as a sort of wrap up? But part of that, I guess, is don't be part of the problem. So with that same 2020 article noted that you would find these sort of in-group behaviors, and if the norm in the group that you're in is to behave in a toxic manner to an out group, either that's gamers versus non-gamers or just the team that they happen to be playing on, they're more likely to perpetuate it. It kind of gets justified in the group think, and it's okay because he or she isn't really a gamer, they're just on here casually or something like that.
Yeah I think that clip I said to you a couple of weeks ago, whilst that was all in good fun and jest, I think that's that sort of, if you were an outlier in that and you came and you heard that stuff, you might be like, that's pretty bad. And if you're younger as well, you wouldn't know. Perhaps you can put that in there.
Play that little clip.
You guys be there for me if I was going through something?
No. Nope. Absolutely not.
I hope it sucks whatever you're going through.
Damn. I hope it sucks.
We're friends. How many of us?
I hope it emotionally scars you for the rest of your life.
Wow. I hope you reach out to me so I can ignore you.
Jesus.
I can't wait to go to your funeral knowing that I could have changed that outcome.
Man,
that actually is a good point. I think that might have been a private server, or maybe it was a public one, and it was people could hear it from around the place. But it seems that other than not doing it yourself, the other option is don't join public lobbies, right? Because you can have your audio settings on in the game and listen to everyone broadcasting across the whole of the room, as it were.
Oh yeah.
And so rather than just turn it off, because not everything is better with friends or non-friends.
No, and that's exactly what I did. I think the last time I actually played something competitive online, I played, it was Destiny, maybe 1. I can't remember if it was Destiny. I thought I'd try as I hadn't tried anything in years, but I didn't even get to the point where I knew whether or not people were calling me a dick online, because I just muted everybody immediately and didn't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And then it was fine. It's all right.
It's a shame that you have to cut out a part of the game to get any enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And obviously, couldn't hear my team, so that wasn't very good.
Couldn't hear them calling you a dick either.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Well, then the other option is only speaking to people that you know in person or that you know from online, whatever, but make a private channel. So something like Discord as a piece of software, you can arrange specific people have access to that, and you can't just listen to everybody else across the world spewing vile because they're impotent.
Which makes to me would make perfect sense. And if ever, like I say, most of the time I played it was cooperative anyway. So I knew who I was playing with, and they still call me a dick, but I knew they would. So
You knew it was
It
coming
wasn't-
from a good place.
so it wasn't a problem. Yeah. It wasn't a problem for me. I was expecting. And they already knew where I live as well. Luckily,
So-
because I'm a brother and one of his friends.
You
So-
didn't have to bother
Yeah,
doxing.
yeah, exactly. No
Just turned
need.
up.
No need.
And then I guess the other part is be part of the change, like report harassment,
Yep.
note dates and times, and if you can, user handles of when it happened, make a report, maybe do something like upload it if you can, record a clip and upload to this help keep watch thing. You know, the more people get involved in reporting negative behavior and saying that this isn't acceptable, like we don't, as a society of gamers, don't deem this to be correct, then maybe the sooner something gets done about it in an official way.
Or like you and me seem to do, just play single player games. Because
Yeah.
actually, there's some really good ones. There's some really, really most of them. And you know, yeah, you don't want to spend your entire life locked into one thing, do you? Let's
Yeah,
face
I
it.
guess not. So the last time I spoke to anyone online, apart from this, was a game that someone at work recommended. So we agreed to meet on Discord, play the same game for about 4 hours, and there was only two of us.
Doing two of you.
Two.
And was
chatting.
that a nice experience? I presume it
It
was.
Chilled out. We
Yep.
knew who each other were. We, you can do all your little in jokes and stuff, and nobody gets hurt. So I found him in the office the next day physically. Mine my ore, will you?
And what was this game?
Astroneers. Quite enjoyed it. Bit of creaty buildy, miney.
I see. I like stuff like that. But it's, you know, whatever floats your boat, isn't it? With this sorts
Yeah.
of things.
I would say don't let toxic cultures put you off playing shooty bang bang fun games if you like, but just be aware that there is an element of that, and if you're aware of it, you can do things about it. I don't think you should accept it, but yeah, maybe be part of the change.
And if it gets too much, mute. Mute everybody. Mute
Go
everybody.
outside and do
Go
something
outside
else.
and do something else. Mute everybody. Go outside. Choose another game. Do something else. Play a single player game.
Enjoy life.
Because no one wants the stress. No one wants the stress or hassle, do they?
If you feel like you might need to grief someone because they've upset you in the game, go and have a wank and come back. You probably won't want to bother anymore.
Exactly.
Oh, good.
Very good.
I think we learned a few things.
It's a shame that it's so rife.
It
It is a shame. And you'd hope they can only get better. With advancements in the technologies and your AIs and all that.
Apparently they can get banned from games for some of this stuff if it's reported and if it's picked up on, and depends on the operator and all the rest of it. But they can be like a couple of hours ban, a few days ban, or sometimes they can have their account suspended or disabled in these games. And the penalties for these are only going to get more severe and more in line with something that people find unacceptable already, like cheating, if enough people say, we don't want this as part of our gaming.
Be a community.
Or just don't, because they're terrible.
Or just don't play online. Because
Just be a community of one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I would say this was definitely a subculture, a culture inside a culture. A sad little sect of a gaming culture.
And it doesn't represent everybody, just the vast majority.
But now you know about it. Now you can watch out for it. And now you can police yourself. Become the Batman of online.
The Dark Knight, indeed.
Thanks, Rich. It's always a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you, Magical Host. It's been lovely to see you and lovely to speak to you.
I look forward to doing more speakies.
Yes, indeed.
Maybe join us again on another magical side quest.
Toodles.